Revelation 14:3. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Koholo Yahweh, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Kakodash. Double honors and salutations to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahawashi, Wah, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. The water for your diligency and your work throughout all these years. You're definitely worthy of the title, double honors. Shalom to the 144,000 men pushing this word at this very hour. We almost out of here, brothers. Let's go. And shalom to the innumerable 1/3 that consists of men, women, and children that were blessed with the mark of the Tawah, which is exempt from the judgment that is fast approaching, pursuant to Ezekiel 9:4. All right, and those who are ordained to believe on the names of Yahweh, Yahawashi, and all truth and sincerity, as that is the actual names of the Heavenly Father and His Son. All right, now, and the only way to get salvation. All right, now, I am the brother Yazariah from the GMS Dallas camp, coming back at you with another quick hit lesson, Abaratazah, meaning Lord willing in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, it be edifying unto those who are meant to receive it. Now, the name of this lesson here is called Yahawashi is the Grace Note in this song of ours. Yahawashi is the grace note in the song of ours. All right, now as I brought out Revelations 14, as we know in this time period, John the Revelator was on the island of Patmos, all right, in captivity, and he was given a vision through one of the angels of the Lord of the latter end time, the prophecies, the things that will be taking place, ironically, in the period that we are in right now. Okay, so yes, John was there on the island. He saw the MOTB, he saw cell phones, he saw cars, planes, he saw all of the technology that we have right here, right now, today. All right, and the angel of the Lord gave him a vision of the things that are getting ready to take place and ensue. All right, now before this happens or takes place, though, the Lord has awakened his men. All right, rose his men up out here in Babylon the Great, all right, to sing this new song. All right, to blow the trumpet. All right, now, though it's called a new song, it's literally not new. All right, this song was here before the foundations of the earth were created, but it's being brought back out again. So it's being reintroduced into the world. All right, just as the names of Yahweh, Yahawashi are being reintroduced to the world, because in the ancient days, his name was very well known. The son's name was very well known. So, all right, just to make that clarity. So, as I brought out Revelations 14:3, and they sung as it were a new song before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song, but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Right. So, when you go into that song, I'm going to go into this word song here really quick. It is G5603, Ode. It says a lyric, a poem, in the form of an address to a particular subject. Right, and what's this particular subject addressed or speaking about? Speaking about salvation, right? And it says often elevated in a style or manner and written in varied or irregular meter, right? Irregular meters are basically time signatures that are used, all right, for simple combinations to compound beats, all right? And it doesn't fit into a standard time signature within a song. Just to give you some background on that, because my background is music, all right? But also when you go into the word song, it says cantillate, another definition, a chant or an intone, recite with tone and pitch, a message of religious text, right? The new song, you see? So what I wanted to do here real quick here, now this lesson was a land back kind of, but you know, my elder, Yashwamba, Shalom, brother, if you're tuning in, I listened to one of your lessons a while back, about a month or so. So this lesson I've been meaning to do, but you know how it is with the Spirit. And you went into grace. Elder Yashwamba went into grace, and I thought it was a very beautiful, edifying lesson. And so it compelled me to kind of go into grace also as well. So, of course, as I said, mentioned being in the music business, there's a term called a grace note. Okay, now, Abaratazah, Lord willing, we'll get into that. All right, and this grace note, or should I say, before we get into grace note, all right, well, let's get into the word grace. All right, because that essentially was what Elder Yashwamba was going into. But like I said, when I went and did the research, I found a term called the grace note. Now, before we deal with that, we're going to deal with grace. And grace we know to be what? Favor. All right. And when you go into the actual definition, it says a period officially allowed for a payment of a sum due or for compliance with a law or condition, and especially an extended period granted as a special favor. And it uses an example, another 3 days grace, right? Because what you have to understand, a lot of these bugged out Christians, they all say, well, I'm saved through grace, saved through grace, but they don't understand what grace means. We just read it, right? It's an extended period of time. Keyword time. Okay? Now, Paul told us in the book of Romans that we were all debtors to Yahawashi, but not to the flesh, debtors, not to the flesh, but to Yahawashi. Why? Because we broke the law, right? We couldn't actually we couldn't sing the song correctly, ultimately, right? It's Romans 8:12. Therefore, brethren, ye are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh, right? Not living after the flesh, but after Yahawashi, being that new man of the spirit, right? Of Yahawashi, of doing the desires and deeds of the flesh. All right. So therefore, we were given a certain amount of time within this time period, right, to get it together pursuant to, what is that? Judges 5:11 speaks on that rehearsal period. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna grab Judges 5:11 here real quick. I didn't have that pulled up, but I'm trying to kind of get away from roughly paraphrasing and trying to do more just actually reading the lyrics. Well, there are lyrics. Reading the actual verse. All right. So we're gonna go here to Judges 5:11. All right, and it says, "They that are delivered from the noise of the archers and the places of drawing waters," that's talking about in captivity here, "there they shall rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates." Right. So we should rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. You see that? So let's go into this word rehearsal. All right. It's H8567, thana. All right. It says to recount, to tell again, to praise, to attribute honor, to celebrate. Here's the key: to utter voice, recite, cantillate, a song. You see? So when you rehearse something, when you're rehearsing something, that's pretty much allotted for what? A latter period in time. All right. So this song was given to us by Moses over what? I want to say over 3,000 years ago. Okay. It was created prior to, chiefly for the latter end time that we are in right now. You see? Let me grab here. This here is Romans 6:4, and it says, "For sin shall not be your master, because ye are not under the law, but under grace." Right. So the first 5 books of this song were composed by Moses, right? So though we know it's a very beautiful song, we couldn't keep it because of our wickedness in the flesh, right? So trying to keep this song without Yahawashi ultimately equals death, okay, if you can receive it. So when you go to, matter of fact, let me pull this here in Deuteronomy 31:21, "And it shall come to pass when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of their mouths or the mouths of their seed." Right. So this song of ours condemns the deeds of the flesh. It exposes not only how far we've fallen, but what we need to do to get back right. Okay. Deuteronomy 31:22. "Moses therefore wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel." Right. So we see that this law, as we know, is like a song. All right. But because we couldn't keep it, Yahweh the Father, all right, pretty much sent his son down, all right, to be that grace note within this song of ours, that we may interpret it correctly. All right. Now, not all of Israel, only the 144,000 were to receive this grace note. Okay, so what we're going to do here, let's just talk about, just want to kind of go into this grace note, all right, and what it is in the song, all right, that the Father beautifully added. All right, it says a grace note is a musical note printed in a smaller size to show that it is not essential to the music, but it is used as a beautiful effect. Right, so though we know, all right, it's not essential to the song, meaning Yahweh the Father was not obligated, all right, to give his song, to give Yahawashi as his grace note to this song, all right, but it was, what it say? It said was it's for a beautiful effect, right? When you go into that word effect, it says Slack it here. All right, so it says here, I'll just read that again. It says, a grace note, a musical note printed in smaller size to show that it is not essential to the music, but is used just as a beautiful effect. So, right, like I said, it is not essential to the song, meaning the father was not obligated to give Yahawashi, all right, as a grace note to the song of ours. Now, when you go into the word effect, it says a change which is a result or consequence of an action. So Yahawashi was that beautiful effect added to this song, right? So the Father sent Yahawashi, all right, to change our situation due to what? Our actions are breaking the law, if you can receive it. Why? Because of favor. Ultimately, Deuteronomy 7:6 says what? It tells us that the Father loved us and chose us unto himself above all the nations that are upon the face of the earth. You see? So go back to that word grace note. It says grace notes are often used in printed scores to indicate, here's the point, how a piece should be played. You see that? How a piece should be played. So we go here to Revelations 5:4, and it says, and I wept much because no man was found worthy to open or read the book, neither to look therein. Right? Because we know Yahawashi is the author and finisher of our faith. Hebrews 2, right? So Yahawashi is the author of this song and the only one to be able to give the proper interpretation of this song. You see? So Revelations 5:5, it says what? And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loosen the seven seals thereof. Right? So that lion is who? Yahawashi. Right? Sent to us so that we may learn this song correctly. All right? Even when you go into, I'm going to grab this word loosen really quick here. This is the G3089, Lo'u. It says laws, right, as given a binding force are likened to bonds, right? Because the letter of the law keeps us in bondage to sin through the flesh, right? So without Yahawashi being that grace note in the song, we couldn't interpret the song or sing it correctly. All right, so though we know Yahawashi was originally in the song, we weren't given the eye salve to see it and interpret it, if you can receive it, okay? So it goes on to say a printed score, which we know to be sheet music, will often indicate which interpretation is to be played by using a grace note. You see, so when you go into the word interpretation, it's the action of explaining the meaning of something. You see? So Yahawashi is that grace note within the song that gives us the correct interpretation of the song. Okay? Again, without the spirit of Yahawashi upon us, we could not sing this song correctly. So though we know all of Israel received this song when we were, when Moses was raised up and brought us out of Egypt, brought us to Mount Sinai. All right, we made the covenant, the first covenant, the marriage contract. That was the song. All right, but only the elect was given the eye salve, all right, from Yahawashi as the great note, should I say the grace note in this composition to be able to interpret it correctly. Right? Romans 11:7. What then? All of Israel have not obtained it. The election obtained it, but the rest were blinded. So the election was given the eye salve to be able to interpret this grace note, which is Yahawashi, within this song of ours, if you can receive it. You see? So here, I'm going to go back to here, just to bring it back here. I'm going to go back to Revelations 14:3. And they sing as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and before the elders. And no man could learn that song but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So we understand that new song, as we brought out, which is just truth, which isn't literally new, but it's being reintroduced into the world again, right? Song before the throne of Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi, all right? In front of the angels, in front of the elders, all of the hosts. All right. And it says no man could learn that song but the 144,000 that were redeemed. All right. So as we sing this wedding song, all right, in the chief places of concourse, all right, all of Israel are being beckoned. Okay. Only the elect whom this grace note was given. All right. The rest will not dance to this song of ours. Matter of fact, beautiful. They won't dance to this song of ours. Matter of fact, let me grab this in Luke 7. I think it's Luke 7 and 32 here. Give me 1 second here. Yes. All right, and it says, this is Luke 7:32. They're like, let me start at 31. And the Lord said, whereto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? Right, and that's literally today. Because here we are back in the times of Noah all over again. And it says, they are like unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another and saying, we have piped unto you, and yet ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, yet ye have not wept. You see? So why? Because ultimately they weren't given the grace note to be able to understand. All right, so it's our job, all right, the elect or the hopeful elect who were given this grace note to go out here and sing it in the chief places of concourse, that those who are meant to receive it can come into this thing, all right, understand what the Lord is saying, be able to understand the interpretation, and then come in and teach faithful men, as well as the scriptures say. Okay? So it says, matter of fact, I'm gonna grab this in the NLT. It says, this is Luke 7:32. They're like children playing a game in the public square. They complain to their friends, we played wedding songs and you didn't dance. So we played funeral songs and you didn't weep. You see? And that's chiefly the 2/3 that are out here. Okay? Because they're in the house of mirth. They're not in the house of mourning. Okay? They're not crying out. Ezekiel 9:4. Okay? Crying out what? This song, ultimately. You see? So, as we see, again, a grace note is a composition that is to be played. All right? But depending on the actual piece or the actual time period, should I say. Now, we know, like, as a matter of fact, let me grab this here. Give me one sec here. Find something here that I originally saw here, but I don't know if I can, trying to find it here. I can't find it. Kind of went it a little bit more on the grace note. Well, I brought this, Lord willing, it'll come back. But basically, we're talking about here, grace note. All right, in this composition is to be played depending on the piece and the time period. Now, we know in the Old Testament, right, our forefathers were given this song to write or to compose, all right? But due to the time period they were given, they weren't given the grace note, which is Yahawashi in that time, all right, within the song to fully understand what they were reading. That's why when you go into the scriptures and you know, the prophets, you know, they didn't always understand what they were writing, right? What they were composing, the song that they were put together ultimately, because it was for a later time. Okay, so we know that when Yahawashi was giving them, when they were given these visions, they were either in a trance or in a dream, right, of the end time, okay, period that we're in right now. Okay, so we know that in order to understand this correctly, like I said, you have to have Yahawashi. All right, so we are now in the time period now where Yahawashi is the distinction within this song, making it clear. All right. So as I said, in this latter end time period that we're in right now, the Lord, the Father sent his son. All right. Yahawashi is that grace note, also today known as the Comforter. All right. And which was given to us, all right, to understand not only this song, but to feed the sheep correctly. All right. An interpretation of this song. All right. So they hear a distinct sound. Okay. As a matter of fact, 1 Corinthians, let me grab that here really quick. Because it's all about a distinct sound within this song. All right. And that distinct sound was only given through Yahawashi, which is that grace note within the song. All right. This is 1 Corinthians 14:7. And even things without giving sound, whether piped, except they give a distinction in sounds, how should be known what is piped or harp, right? Like how we, you know, brought out in Luke, the 7th chapter, you know, piping in the marketplace, but people aren't, you know, Israel isn't dancing. They're not mourning, right? Ultimately, right? So even when you go into The word distinct, it comes from the word distinguish, all right, which means to set a person or thing apart from the rest, right? Now, this is a holy sound that we're singing within this song, right? We know it to be, right? So to distinguish, so when you look at the words distinguish and the words interpret, though they have the same meaning, all right, they have one, Salakia, though they don't have the same meaning, should I say, they have one thing in common, and that's the understanding of something, right? So when the song is being played, the sheep will respond because why? The sound is distinct to us. We'll understand it. You see? So John 10:4 says what? And when we put it forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Remember, we went back, we went into that. That word voice, uttering a voice, song. Right? An uttered voice, that's a definition of song. All right, so this is Yahawashi being that grace note, giving us that understanding that when we hear it, those who are meant to hear it, we're going to follow him. You see? Because we know false doctrines are not distinguishable, all right, or familiar to the sheep, all right? It's an uncertain sound unto the elect. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and finish. 1 Corinthians 14:8. For the trumpet gives an uncertain sound. Who shall prepare himself for the battle? Right, so us out here singing this song, blowing the trumpet, giving a warning to prepare to get you ready. Ultimately, you see? Because there is a war that's coming. As a matter of fact, the war's already started. 1 Corinthians 14:9. So likewise, except you utter by tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For you shall speak into the air. Right. So when you go into this, also it's also talking about, because Christians have it bad when it comes to this speaking in tongues. It's not about a bunch of freaking mumbo jumbo. Speaking in tongues is literally speaking another language. So I speak English, but I can speak Spanish, or I can speak German. All right, so that's why it says when you speak, when you speak another tongue, you have to interpret it. Okay, so as this song, all right, this beautiful song, it can't be interpreted without that grace note, Yahawashi. Or it would be an unfamiliar or undistinct sound. It is not distinguishable to the 2/3. It's only distinguishable to the elect. We're going to hear it, we're going to know it, we're going to follow, and we're going to follow suit. You see? Goes on to say, 1 Corinthians 14:11. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, or he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me. Even so, ye, forasmuch as ye are zealous of spiritual gifts, seek that ye may excel to the edifying of the church, right? Because that's ultimately what our goal is, to edify. All right, and Yahawashi being that grace note within this song that gives us the interpretation, the eye salve, we can now edify the sheep. We could not do it without the grace note. You see? It goes on to say, 1 Corinthians 14:13, wherefore let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. You see? So Yahawashi, this grace note, has given us the ability to interpret this song. Without Yahawashi, we couldn't interpret it. Wouldn't be able to have the understanding and break it down. You see? So again, Yahawashi is the grace note that allows us to be able to interpret this song that's being sung. And only the 144,000 know this song. Call Hala Yahweh, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Akakwadash. Shalom.